whatever you're doing handling. Need a clip?
There you go.
Oh, man. Maybe we can make notes in my eyebrow. Yeah.
I guess we can let everybody sign in, wait another second or two for anybody else to show up.
You got balls walking in right now.
It happens.
Yeah.
I think there's a grace. We should.
Yeah, it's like.
What should we?
Amen. You're good at coffee. Quick question for you.
Sure.
This is gonna be the Provex, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is,
Just the black fabric with rock on top.
okay, but it will be rock on top.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Trying to find places to put it in. So I'm thinking I might be able to go, because this one is not a real steep or a real high slope. I should do something here.
Yeah, I mean, as far as plants go, I think on the golf course ones, we just plan on them all being golf course unless, I don't care if you want to put them over there. It's up to
Yeah,
you
well,
guys.
there's people here that really like it. The problem with this side is again
Yeah,
vertical.
you made the change, haven't you?
That's fine.
You
I
know,
mean,
a lot of it's vertical, but this is not being direction.
That's funny, I missed it.
on that side, I mean, if you want to plant it, we'll just, do everything except the rock, then we won't put rock, we'll put plants.
No, do it,
I use
do
this
it
one
up
to
here.
go.
I think that, you know, there's a couple
Responded.
of things that,
Speaking Dutch. I was like,
I think again, because this is a.
well, I'm sitting back and forth, like, what the hell? I'm like, are you from like, no, Olympic, Netherlands, and then I was like, what? And I looked. and I knew it
Works for
showed
me.
I'll look the rest of this, but I know this is.
3 N's, not
all
2 N's.
pretty
So I ended up
darn
adding
vertical.
someone from the Netherlands.
Yeah.
And now I've been talking to them.
Oh, yeah?
Because they're really nice. They're my age now. Oh, so Berlin's awesome.
Do something, I know this is vertical.
I was like, where in the Netherlands would you go? I'm painting a bunch of cities, and I said Amsterdam, everyone goes.
Along the lakeside?
It's like a tourist place or whatever.
Oh, right
Because
there.
she,
There's
she,
one right down here, and then it comes
There, that's a
up
strange
to
place.
this side.
Yeah.
this accidentally moved people from the Netherlands.
That's, nice, we went
Fun
there
spot.
when we were, she's in her 30s. Actually, let's see, it was, in her 20s.
Is that where you have that picture on
Yeah.
on the snow? Okay.
Yeah.
Is Chris gonna sit in or just us?
I don't,
I think you'll ask him.
It's so funny, man. They just kept on writing to me, going, no, I thought you were, and they said, no, I thought you were Vincent from my school. I was like, oh, no. Didn't know. Listen to those people like, oh, you're
How
old.
old is he?
22. I was like, what the hell? They're accidentally messed one. It was my same age and that's looking for someone else. It didn't even mean.
Okay. He's coming. Y'all ready? Alright.
I'll make a quick announcement. This is all being recorded too, so if you're gonna have any sidebar conversations, leave the obscenities out of it.
Well, hello everybody. It's Thursday, November 15th, 10:05. So this is the pre-bid for what I'm gonna call FY19 of the Lake Bank Restoration Project. So I guess we can do some quick introductions. My name's Tyler Wainwright. We're the engineer for the project. I'm with a company called Tetra Tech. This is Miss Al Harris. She's with Gateway Services. Tall guy over there in the back, that's Chris Shoemaker. He's the district manager for Gateway. I guess we don't need to do contractor introductions. There's a sign-in sheet. So this is a mandatory pre-bid. I guess we'll just go over the notice to contractors first. So there are 2 bid groups that are going out that were advertised simultaneously, bid group number 1 and bid group number 2. There's a total of 6 lakes between the 2 of them, 3 lakes each. Bid group number 1, the bid date is due on Wednesday, November 28th at 2 p.m. Bid group number 2 is due Tuesday, December 4th at 10 a.m. All of the plans, the notice to contractor, specs, everything else, I know it's on the district's website. I think it's also on Demand Star also, but I know it's on the district website. So if you have any issues obtaining those, downloading those, just let any of us know and we'll help you out getting the information that you need. This is a mandatory pre-bid. That's pretty much everything for this. So a couple notes just describing the project. There's 6 lakes in total. It's 61, 90, 92, 119, 121, and 124. Those numbers probably don't mean a lot to you guys, but in general, there's about 14,000 feet, I think, in total of lake bank to be repaired. This is the 3rd or 4th year that Gateway has been going through these repairs. There's 2 options, or two different alternatives and methods that we're proposing to use for repairs. If you guys have any specific questions on those, we can definitely answer those today. As far as the nature of the bid, they are being bid in 2 groups, but each lake is an individual contract. So each lake will be awarded based on low bid for that lake. It's not the total bid for the 3 lakes. So 1 lake, 1 contract. You can bid all 6, you can bid 1, you can bid however you prefer and however much you think you can do. Now as far as the award goes, each lake will have a total contract time of 90 days to substantial and another 30 days for final. If a contractor is awarded more than 1 lake, they're not going to stagger the NTPs, so they are still expecting you to do them simultaneously if you are awarded more than 1 lake. The goal of that is basically to get everything done in the dry season, so if we give you more time or try to stagger them, there's just really not enough time to complete them between now and the rainy season. So I think it's pretty much it for the bidding process. This is a project that is being funded by the state of Florida through the SRF program. There are some requirements that go along with that that are dictated in the contract documents. There's 2 paperwork packages in there. There's something called the front-end documents and there's technical specifications. The tech specs are what you guys are used to looking at. The front-end specs are all the contract and procedural issues. All of the insurance and bonding requirements are all in there. All of the FDEP supplemental conditions are in there. If you have any questions on those or if any of that is unfamiliar to anyone, again, just ask us a question. We'll try to guide you through it as best we can. As far as actually submitting your bid, something I want to try to avoid this year that was an issue last year, please fill out the bid form that we provided to you. Don't issue a separate quote or try to make up your own bid sheet. Just fill out the bid sheet that we provided to you. If you have a question on the bid sheet, if you think there's a problem with it, let us know. We'll get it addressed. This contract will require either a general contractor's or an underground excavator's contractor license. If you do not have one of those, I don't know what to tell you. That's required for the project. I think pretty much it from my side. I don't know if you have anything else to add.
I do not. Covered it well.
On the bid sheet, if you guys have looked at it, you may notice one other thing that's a little bit different this year, in that there's two separate line items, one for labor only and one for material only on the TRM approach. And the reason for that is that Gateway has a bunch of leftover material from previous contracts. Not enough to do the whole job, but enough to do maybe 2 of the smaller legs. I don't know exactly how much they have. So the plan there is that the bids will be evaluated based on the total bid, including labor and material. Gateway may or may not replace that bid item with material they're going to give you, with the leftovers. So the plan there is that if there's 1,000 foot of material that's in your bid and they give you 1,000 foot of material, then that line item goes away. If they give you 500 and 500, obviously they pay half and would deduct the other half. So if you have any questions on that, please let us know, but hopefully that's straightforward enough.
And when you say leftovers, we're not talking bits and pieces, we're talking about large rolls.
Yeah, it's right out there. We can show you guys what's out there right now if you want to take a look at it. But I think there's 15 or 16 rolls of DRM out there and several boxes of anchors and pins and things like that. So if you have any questions or if you want to take a look at it or any specifics on that, how that's going to work, just ask your questions. I think that's it for us. I guess I'll open up to you guys. What's going
I
on?
guess I'll start.
Yes, sir.
The anchors, it
Yep.
talks about supplemental conditions being American-made. Is that required to be made in the United States?
No.
Anything? No.
The American Iron Steel requirement and the DP supplemental condition is not applicable to this job.
Okay.
So the anchors do not have to meet the AIS requirements.
I assume we have to submit 2 separate bid bonds for the 2 separate dates.
Yes. So 1 bid bond per bid submittal. So one on the 28th and one on the 4th?
On the 4th.
4th.
And we are required Davis-Bacon certified payrolls as per the supplemental conditions.
Yes. So Davis-Bacon wage rates are applicable to this job. Does everybody know what those are? Familiar with them? We can, let me post the latest and greatest Davis-Bacon wage rates with this when the first addendum goes out, so you guys know exactly what those are. I'll make sure those get included, but yes, they are applicable. The DEP does require certified payroll on the job, so that's something you'll have to do.
The 6.9% WBE is a goal, not a requirement, correct?
My understanding it is a goal,
It's a goal.
not a requirement.
Right.
But let me confirm that with them. Is that in the DEP supplemental?
Yes. And it says goal, and it's been a goal in the past.
Let me check and confirm, but unless they've changed it, it's not a requirement as far as I know.
So in reference to the material, we get a quote from existing pricing today's manufacturers that are spec, the 2 that are there. If we put a number in for that material, how is that going to be in relationship if you say, okay, I've got this material that's here? Are you going to let us know what price we're going to be buying the material if we're asked to?
Whatever your bid for that line item is going to be, if you bid $100 a foot for that material, and we provide you that many feet of material, that's what's going to be deducted. So
Okay.
whatever you put for that line item, it's entirely up to you guys. So
Okay.
it's not like Gateway is going to establish a price. It's So whatever your bid is for that material line item, that's what's gonna be deducted from your contract if Gateway provides that material to you. So that's inclusive of the TRM, the non-woven, pins and anchors. It's not dirt, it's not rock, it's not anything else. It's the TRM, non-woven, pins, anchors for that system.
Since there are two bids, are you gonna space the notice to proceed from the first and leave a gap for the second group?
I guess I could. I guess it's up to Gateway how they want to do that. I mean, the intention of the two bids was, at least our rationale behind it was that if, you know, a contractor didn't feel like he could do all 6 lakes or more than 2 lakes or whatever, he could bid, find out if he won any, and if he didn't, he could go and bid into group number 2. That was kind of the plan. So the goal is to get these in front of the Gateway board in the December meeting. All of them would be hopefully approved at the December meeting. And then we would be ready to issue contracts in January. So if you go 90 days from that, that's the end of March or beginning of April, somewhere in there, for completion of the project. Doesn't really give you a lot of time to stagger jobs. I guess Gateway could if they want, but
Yeah, like a couple of weeks, yeah.
possibly. I mean, it's not up to me, it's up to Gateway, but they might.
One more.
Right.
On 01530, it talks about a fence, 2.2 being 6 foot high. Wouldn't a 4-foot orange construction fence, like it's done in the past, suffice?
Yeah, that's fine. For just protection of the work area.
Mhm.
Yeah, we can revise that to the orange.
Okay.
Other questions? Anybody else?
I noticed something on the bid sheet, the first one, where it starts, it's got the first 2 and then it skips to 3. You skip 2 and go to 3. Was that intentional?
Let me pull it up. So group 1, we got Lake 61, Lake 92, and 121. So, what do you mean? What does it skip 2 and go to 3?
You have the first 2 up there that are with supposedly the group 1,
Yep.
and then it goes to 3. It skips 2, but on the next page,
Where it says Lake 121,
yeah.
it says contract 3.
I'm assuming there's supposed to be a 2 on there, not a 3.
Oh, where it says contract? Oh, I got you, I got
See how
you.
it changes colors and everything?
Yeah, I think, yeah, sorry. That's just we need to add a 2 and not a 3.
So, okay, that's what I thought. All right.
I see what you're saying. We'll correct that.
I had a question, just to get curiosity. I know some of these lakes were on the bid last year.
Yep.
What happened, like why were they not completed and why are they not for rebid? What was that issue?
The bids came in over budget and we didn't have enough time to do them all.
Was the issue of the irrigation systems ever resolved from last year?
Sort of. The irrigation is included within the contractor's bid. So there's a separate line item in there for irrigation restoration. It is entirely up to entirely up to the contractor to repair those irrigation systems as part of their work.
In reference to that, did they do sonar to check that there was no conflicts?
Nope.
would that be done before we mow? 'Cause that was a major problem last year.
I agree with you. Nothing has been done to this date so far. So that's up to Gateway if they choose to do that or not. If you want to submit that as a question, we can get with them and address it. In general, there's obviously sprinklers at every home. I have no idea where they are. I don't think Gateway has any idea where they are. Probably the homeowners have no idea where they are. We can work with the contractors as best we can to, I don't know, mediate between the residents and the work, but the way the contract is currently structured is that the irrigation repairs are on the responsibility of the contractor.
Right,
So could we establish like a pre-construction test? Because if somebody has a system that doesn't work at all,
Yes. Yeah, I mean, in general, I would recommend that you do that. In the other contracts, that's exactly what we did do. Basically, we went out there before anybody started, ran as many as we could. Some people aren't there, some people are locked, some people don't know how to work theirs, whatever. But we tried to establish, obviously, house A wasn't working already, or it already had broken heads or whatever. If that was the case and we could document that, that's not your responsibility to do anything with. It's again, I guess it's up to you guys what you can document as broken and working.
Are there any of these developments that run on one system for all the homes, like what we encounter?
Like
where-
master on that one?
Master?
I will check to be sure. I know 61 does not. Stony Brook does not have a master loop in the back. I know that. 90 is Silver Lakes in the church. That one highly unlikely. 92 is Timber. What's that one called?
Timber, it's Devonshire and
Pinewood.
Pinewood.
Devonshire might.
They might.
Devonshire might have one. There's potentially one.
What lake is that, I'm sorry?
92.
92.
The rest are in Gateway Greens, and those are all single family. They're not condo, so I highly doubt it. If you ask that question and remind me, we can try to investigate that as much as we can. But I would say as of right now, 92 on the north side, not the south. So 92, there's actually 2 HOAs involved. On the north side, it's an HOA called Devonshire. On the south side, it's an HOA called Pinewood. Pinewood is single family. I'm pretty confident they do not. The north side, Devonshire, those are condos, aren't they?
They're adjoined.
They're adjoined. They might.
They're adjoined.
So we can look into that and try to at least answer that part of it.
They're single story. A demo.
Just kind of a general comment. On those front end documents, there's a lot of paper, not a lot, there's some paperwork that needs to be filled out for the submission of the bid. A lot of those are mandated because of the type of funding that Gateway is getting for this project. Please make sure you fill them all out. Please make sure you submit them. In the past, we rejected bids because the paperwork wasn't filled out. That was a pretty easy item to submit. If you have any questions on what is required to be submitted, please ask us. If you have any issues with them or don't know how to fill them out, whatever, please ask us. We will do everything we can to help you. We want as many bids as we can. We really don't want to reject a bid because you didn't fill out a bid bond. So please let us know.
Question on that, there's Appendix A Supplemental Conditions FDEP-13. There's a form in there. Is that post in the process of award, or is that part of the bid documents?
Let me pull it up and find out. On 13, you said?
It's FDEP-13, Appendix A.
Appendix A is Department of Environmental Protection Supplemental Conditions. The certification relates to a construction contract proposed by law, which affects the finance. 5. I agree that tangential associations between tier 1 structure. I believe you have to submit that with your bid, but we can make sure on that.
Okay.
I'm gonna say yes, submit with your bid. You're basically just certifying that you're gonna follow the supplemental conditions. So, I don't know why it would make a difference if you sign them afterwards. I mean, if you are to be rewarded the contract, you'd have to sign these, so. I'm gonna say yes with your bid.
I think one more.
Keep going, bud.
Right-of-way permit for the one lake across here. Is that gonna be required? And if so, can we get a notice to proceed after it's been issued?
It depends how you're gonna work the lake. I'm of the opinion that you don't need a right-of-way permit if you work from the west side of the lake, because you're not within the county right-of-way.
Right.
If you choose to work from the east side of the lake that's in the road right-of-way, you're gonna have to get a right-of-way permit, and that's on the contractor to get. I mean, if you wanna stagger the NTP until you actually get the right-of-way permit, 'cause I know those can take some time, I don't have an issue with that, but, I mean, my preference is that you don't work from that side, you work from the
Right.
west side. There's a big, that area to the west of there, the FPL easement, Gateway has easement rights over that entire parcel. We can confirm, but I'm of the opinion that you can use all that area to stage and to work out of.
Okay.
So I recommend you work from over there.
Right, and then just road signs, entering and exiting, trucks, the highway is all you would need.
I mean, access is already established off the roadway. I don't,
So it's, you've got a road there already.
I don't think you need a right-of-way permit for that,
Okay.
but we can confirm, I guess.
We are working with different property owners for access easements, and the church has already given us permission to
Okay.
come in there and work from their property.
Okay.
We're just formalizing those documents.
Okay.
Just to confirm something on the plans, I'm just using Lake 61 as a reference, but on the cut sections, you refer to a control elevation, and then on 501 and 502C, there's a control water level. I'm assuming that those two lines are the same, because there isn't any correlation.
Yeah, the one that's called control elevation and control water level, they're the same. I think we just wrote it different because the word wouldn't fit in the box. But yeah, control elevation, control water level, they are one and the same.
From that assumption, then, it looks to me on the cut sections that your top of bank from your control elevation line going off the bottom scale, you're like 20 feet, where in your detail sections, your control water elevation level in your top of bank is less.
Kind of. Here's the issue. On these cut sections, this is all surveyed in 1988 datum, because that's what Lee County made me do, which I don't agree with, but that's what they made me do. So on that sheet, those control elevations listed are actually in 29, and we gave you the conversion, but there's a difference in datum between the two. So like if you look on 502, you see right beneath that box, like all those control elevations, those were all listed in 29 datum. To convert that to 88, to match those sections, subtract 1.15. So it's kind of goofy with the datums that are used. If you would like, if it's easier, I can just give you a new box in 88 datum. It's weird like that because we had to get a permit from Lee County, and that's the way they made me list it, which I don't necessarily agree with. But for the purposes of this bid, so it's easier on you guys, I can redo that datum in 88 if you'd like.
Yeah. I mean, the datums, the elevations are one thing, I was more speaking just to strictly the scale.
Okay, give me an example, what are you talking about?
Said the cut on the cut sections, suggesting that control elevation to top of bank is roughly 20 feet, where on the detail sections, the control elevation to top of bank, or which I'm assuming top of bank would be on the control, on the details, is where your trench is gonna go, is only about 10 feet, unless the trench is significantly off the top of bank.
So how we're
The
setting.
idea of trying to convert, trying to look at cut and fill. I mean, you've got like a 2-to-1 slope on your cut sections, but you're asking for fill and then with a 4-to-1 slope. I don't see how that's all matching up.
So all of the lakes need to be established to a 4-to-1.
Understand?
So on the anchor trench, the anchor trench is set by elevation. So on each one of those lakes, they're set 2 foot above control. So where we have listed, like you see that leader, it says top of bank called out, that's not necessarily where you're gonna set that anchor trench. The anchor trench, just because of the length of the fabric that we have, has to be set 2 foot above control. That's how we're gonna establish it. So basically ignore that leader, it says TOB on the sections. What we're trying to do is maintain elevations constant and keep a minimum 4-to-1 slope. Now in reality, what you're gonna find is that that slope is going to vary slightly, but it cannot exceed a 4-to-1 as far as steepness goes. So, I don't know if that clarifies your question, but the anchor trench, the control elevation, and where we're gonna terminate the matting is all established based on elevation.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So like, I'm trying to remember the roll widths. Like on the TRM cross section, we're not gonna ask you to place more than that. It's gonna be 2 rolls. It's gonna be an 8-foot roll on the bottom and a 15-foot roll on the top.
Yep.
That's the area that we are asking you to restore, to repair, however you wanna say it. And then that anchor trench is gonna be fixed at that elevation of, like on 61, for example, it will be 24.5. So, I don't know, hopefully that answers your question.
A little bit. So, pretty much establishing any sort of cut and fill is gonna be a crapshoot.
I mean, in general, there's basically no cut on the
How about
job.
historically from the last year, the contractor last year, did they have to import much fill for Lake 60?
They imported all. It was all imported. There was very little, if no cut.
Lake 60 and 61 were pretty much same.
It is basically all cut. I'm sorry, all fill. There's really not an opportunity to cut.
Just a small little question, there's nothing on it, but on 502, it looks like there's just a circle around the riprap ball at the bottom of the non-woven, of the TRM. That's just a,
Yeah, you can ignore that. I mean, it's just a 4 to 8 inch riprap at the bottom. Why that actually looks like a ball is because previously, about 2 years ago, we used to actually wrap the rock,
Yeah.
wrap number 4 stone in something and place it at the bottom.
yeah.
And then we changed it, just putting 4 to 8 inch, so graphically that's why it looks different, but it's just 4 to 8 inch riprap stacked at the bottom.
I think it says 6 to 8, it should be 4 to 8, right?
501 and 502 are different.
Oh yeah, you're right. One says 6 to 8, one says 4 to 8.
Should all be 4 to 8.
It should all be 4 to 8. 501, that 16 just changed to 4. I'll change that.
Right.
Is that 18 inches wide, is that good for posts?
Yes.
You get a copy of the sign-in sheet here?
Yeah, who's got it ready?
Got it over here, make sure before you leave, sign it, and we'll type it up. We'll just use the signatures to verify you were here, and have it ready for distribution if anyone would like it.
As far as looking at these things, 1, 2, 3, 4 of them are behind gates. Guess we can get with whoever at those communities and let them know that people are going to be heading out there to go look at them. We'll try to get that squared away today. I hope you guys are gonna wanna go look at them. So just identify yourself as a contractor in the lake banks, and it shouldn't be an issue to go take a look. We'll try to get that today, so I don't know, anytime between now and bid opening, you guys are welcome to go take a look at them. They are in people's backyards, please keep that in mind. You are gonna get people out there saying, what the hell are you doing? Why are you trying to fix my lake? You are gonna get people saying, come fix my lake right now, so. Please don't talk to them. Just don't. Just say you're here for a bid, go call Gateway if they have any questions. Don't interact with them. That's all I have. One more point. If you guys have questions on this, even the ones you asked me today, please get them in writing. Email them to, who are we saying, to Chris?
This is Gateway, or does you have any questions with us?
Does it say on here? Pros try to bid. I'm gonna say email them to Chris, unless he says somebody else. But get your questions in writing. Is there a date for final questions? If there's not, we need to establish one. I don't see one. So in the addendum, we're gonna establish a date for final questions. The bid opening is November 28th. That's a Wednesday. I'm gonna say probably the Wednesday before, the 21st, that's the day before Thanksgiving. It'll probably give us enough time to actually answer them if you do have questions. So we'll address in the addendum, but let's say Wednesday the 21st for final dates for question. That's next Wednesday. Anybody else?
Dewatering. If it's necessary, is the water district management guidelines to be followed, or does Gateway Services have their own set of regulations for dewatering?
A little bit of both. Our hope is that you don't have to. Our hope is the water level is low enough to where you can do your work. In the past, that's been mostly true, but in a few occasions, we've gotten too late into the season and we've had to dewater. If you do have to dewater, you do have to get a dewatering permit from South Florida.
A 90-day no notice won't?
It depends what you're doing. The 90-day no notice works for certain aspects of dewatering. It depends what your plan is, what kind of equipment you're gonna use, how much you're gonna use, where you're gonna put it, where you're gonna pump it. So if you can qualify for the 90-day no notice, more power to you.
Okay.
But if you are going to dewater, you are going to have to get a dewatering permit. In most cases, all these lakes are consecutive. They can be pumped downstream to the next lake. That's my recommendation. That's the easiest way to do it, in my opinion, but however you want to do it is up to you guys. But none of these lakes are standalone. They're all consecutive, so they all can be dewatered.
However, we do want you to prevent as much downstream sedimentation as possible. We're right now cleaning storm drains, and I would hate to have one clean and then go back in and all great, now there's another 4 inches in there.
Okay.
I mean, the goal is it's gonna be low enough where you can do your work without your water. Might work out, it might not. It's raining today, so.
And I have a sign-in sheet, most everyone's signed in on. If you wouldn't mind, before you leave, just put your name and email on this one, then I'll type up a complete sign-in sheet and also put my email for questions on there, and we'll get that out to you today. So I'm just sitting there emailing on it. Emailing out.
All right, thanks, everybody.
Thank you.